Hey guys in the You Are Worthy Network. How's everybody doing this Thursday? Can you guys believe I got to do my math on this? Oh my goodness. It's less than 2 weeks away from Christmas. You guys don't turn off the video just because I said that and you don't have your shopping done. But what I do want to remind you of is this time of year where it's less than 2 weeks. I know you still probably have shopping left to do. I know that there's still an office party or two to go to, a neighborhood party to go to. You've got a list a mile long. It's okay. Slow down, pump the brakes. It'll get done, or it won't. It'll be okay either way. But don't forget the real reason for the season, and don't forget gratitude in the hustle and bustle. Gratitude will keep you grounded. You know, guys, if you didn't see the interview earlier today, or even yesterday for that matter, I just want to stop for a second. See, I'm pumping the brakes, I'm practicing what I preach. I want to thank each one of you for helping the network grow like it has. We've been blessed with 5,000 members now in 4 short months, and that's because of you guys. The group is here for you guys. I do this for you guys. And so I hope things resonate with you when we have a guest and they talk about all their accomplishments and all their successes. And I love doing that. I learned so much from that. But they also are humans and they're vulnerable and they've had seasons of overcoming and seasons of challenges. And they share those. Man, that's gold because we're all have been through a storm, are going through a storm, or it won't be long. Don't get too comfortable. We'll go through another one. So I hope you get value out of all that. Anyway, that's my little spill for the start of this. I'm excited today to get into this conversation with our guest. You guys know how I do it. I like to read the bio verbatim because there's so much gold that we can learn from our guest from the bio itself. Joni Goodman is a leadership catalyst, speaker, and author of the award winning new book, Rappel Breakthrough to a Better You. With over 25 years of experience in leadership development and coaching, Joni helps people move from fear to freedom and from imposter syndrome to empowerment. Inspired by a literal leap rappelling 15 stories down a building for charity, Joni created a 5 step framework for courageous, values driven growth. Reflect, relate, reason, recognize, and rejoice. Her message is especially powerful for women navigating life or career transitions, professionals facing burnout, or leaders craving authentic connection. Joni is also a dynamic speaker with a grounded presence and deep expertise. She has trained thousands of leaders and was personally trained by Dr. Brene Brown as one of the first certified Dare to Lead facilitators in the world. She holds a certificate in women centered coaching and facilitation, a professional coaching and facilitation program specializing in empowering self actualizing women one on one through workshops, women's circles, retreats, and more. Joni is the creator and founder of the Encounter You Luxury Women's Experience, her flagship program for women in STEM leadership. Joni is also an international speaker, transforming lives around the globe. She is a graduate of the Center for Houston's Future Business and Civic Leadership Forum. She was awarded as a Texas Executive Women 2023 Women on the Move honoree and received the Association for Talent Development Houston Community Impact Award for her dedication and support to the talent development and training community. She was also honored as a 2025 role model for the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce Women in the Fast Lane of STEAM. Joni, your resume is impressive. but I've gotten to know your heart a little bit. Your heart's even more impressive. Welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Thank you so much, Steve. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I am too. So much gold in what I just read, but we'll come back to that. Uh, you've accomplished a lot. It sounds like in the Texas area. Is Houston home?
Houston is home, but I am originally from Indiana. Moved to Houston in 2013 for the weather, believe it or not. I know most people are shocked, like, what? It gets really, really hot here. And I do know what they're talking about now that I've been here for 12 years. But the winters are much nicer, less gray.
Yeah, I love the Midwest. I spent several years there too, in Illinois, and the cold's one thing, the snow's one thing, but the gray is really what can get to you for a long period of time.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. More sun here, but also traded it for a big city as well.
That's true. What part? I think you told me, but remind me of what part of Indiana?
So I moved from Fishers, the northeast side of Indiana, so the Indianapolis area, the northeast side of Indianapolis, which is like a little big city. It's the capital, but this is now in Houston. It's the fourth largest city in the United States. So a little bit more
Yeah,
traffic here.
yeah. Houston is huge, and I was about to say I've never been there. Technically, that's not true. I flew to Dallas about a year ago, and I had a
Stopover.
changeover of flights in Houston, and it's when the internet was down in that whole airport. By the way, that was interesting. But I've never spent time in Houston. It's on my list at some point. So Houston's been home for a long, long time.
Yes, for
Um,
12 years. I came for a year and then I blinked and it was 12.
oh my goodness, yeah. So I guess at 10 years, maybe 15, they grandfather you in. You're a legit Texan at that point, right?
Yes, that's what I'm being told. Texan, I get called a Texan because I've got y'all down pat, and then Houstonian as well. You're a Houstonian now. I can drive
Okay.
without my GPS, to get places, but I still put my GPS on for traffic.
Yeah, that's smart. And traffic is a real thing, I'm sure, in Houston.
Absolutely. It and
Um,
I tell everyone the 610 loop that which is a circle that goes around the city. When you get on the 610 loop, it's like getting on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Indianapolis 500 track. Here you go.
yeah, it reminds me of Boston. I'm having flashbacks to Boston traffic right now.
Yes, and I worked there for some time, so I've driven in that as well.
Ooh, I think everybody goes 85, no matter what the speed limit is.
Exactly.
Tell us about your family a little bit.
So I am my family of origin. I am the oldest of two. I have a younger brother, and they're all still in Indiana. And I was the first one in my family to actually, in my immediate family, to go to college and got a degree in biochemistry. And then my family here in Houston, my significant other is Armani, and we've been together for 11 years. And then we have a four-legged daughter. Her name is Gertie. She's a miniature poodle, and she's the love of our life. She's our COVID puppy. We got her in 2020. She was born in 2019. We picked her up in January of 2020. So she brings us a lot of joy.
That's awesome. What do you do for fun in Houston, Texas? Or do you have to go outside of Houston to go to the places you really want to go to for fun?
Well, yes, and I would say. So, in Houston, I did not realize when I moved here that it was such a foodie city. We have, you could get any kind of cuisine from all over the world that you could imagine. There are so many restaurants here. Armani actually works in the food industry and sells to the restaurants. So I'm a foodie. I like to eat. I like to cook. I like to bake. I also like to burn off those calories. So I do Zumba multiple times a week, which is like a Latin dance workout. And then because I'm from a small town, something that I really enjoy doing that's a bit outside of the city is going to a town called Round Top, and it's population 87. And except for two times a year, they have an antique festival where there are hundreds of thousands of people that pass through there. They bring in wares from all over the world. Lots of stars come there to, interior designers to decorate their homes. But that is actually the place where I host my women's program that you spoke about. And it is relaxing, it's calm. You can, hear yourself think. There's no traffic, there's no noise. I also have some friends who have ranches outside the city, and that's actually where I did a lot of writing of my book because it's peaceful, it's calm, it's beautiful, it's serene. So I like the hustle and bustle of the city, but I also like to recharge outside of the city as well.
I'm trying to think how that little town of 87 accommodates all that. What do they do for food and lodging? I'm assuming there's a larger city not too far away.
It's not far from Austin, and it's about an hour and 20 minutes from Houston as well. But there's lots of Airbnbs. A lot of people have their second and third homes that live in Austin or Houston in that area. So, and there are some hotels and lots of restaurants, food trucks, all of that. So they manage to make it work because people come back
Oh,
year after year.
oh, I'm sure it's good for the town revenue without a doubt. It probably supports them for most of the year, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, for 3 weeks, I think it's 3 weeks, maybe just two. I think it's over 2 weekends. I'm thinking about the rodeo for 3 weeks. 2 weeks, yeah, they do well. There's some places that are open year round, but a lot of the places there are open seasonally,
Oh
just
wow,
during
that's
the
crazy.
festival time. So yeah, we
Yeah.
obviously don't host the Encounter You experience during festival time because we want to have that calm serenity there. So, but it's still a cute little town with some shops and just beautiful scenery. Wide open spaces.
Okay. Nice. What was the name of that town again?
Round Top.
Round Top. Okay.
Yes,
Not
yes,
to be
and I'll have
confused with the larger Round Rock, which is a
exactly.
suburb of Austin, right?
Exactly, exactly. Round Top. And I have to give a shout out to the Frenchy Boutique Hotel, which is the hotel where I host. And it is, I mean, I could live there. It's so peaceful, it's calm. They have a communal kitchen that you can bring your own food and cook if you want, or they also have a restaurant on site as well. But it's intimate. They have a pool, they have a pickleball court, they have lots of nature, they have horses nearby. It's just so peaceful and amazing, and the folks that run it are tremendous
In this little town of 87.
in this little town of 87. And it sleeps, I think the capacity, Amy, don't get mad at me if I say it wrong, Amy's the manager. I think it's 25 or 28 people is the maximum capacity of this boutique hotel.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to get into we were talking a little bit before we went live about all the different things you're involved with, and I know we won't cover them all, so I want to be efficient with our time. But so how does one go from a biochemist to an entrepreneur? Tell us about where that bridge happened.
By taking a hard right. No.
Yeah, clearly.
Yes. So really how that came about, and this really kind of connected in reflection, which is really important, as Steve was saying, it's so important to take a pause and, take a beat to reflect. But when I was doing my undergrad, I was actually doing research for a medical school professor. And anytime you do research, especially in academia, they want you to talk about it. So I was doing lots of presentations, and initially I had similar fears that most people do with public speaking until I started doing it more. And I was like, wait, I kind of like this. So when I graduated, I thought I was going to continue to do more of the same. I was going to get a job in research and, continue doing presentations. And then there weren't any opportunities available in Indiana at that time in research. So I took what I considered to be a foot in the door opportunity with a medical device company. And I was actually doing technical support in a call center. So they had a very robust training program. It was 6 weeks in length, I believe. And for good reason, because we were not nurses or doctors. We were folks who had science backgrounds, but we were not clinicians. We were troubleshooting a medical device, however, talking about a diabetes disease state as well. So, very fine line about what you can do and what you can't do. I was fascinated with the training program. And so, once I got through it, I actually got involved in supporting it. And then that coveted role that I hoped for in research finally became available. So I applied, went back to the lab, and the environment was starkly different for obvious reasons from a lab to a call center. But what I realized was different is I had an interest in the science, but my passion was really working with people. And that was where the connection of being on the phone with people 8 to 10 hours a day to going into a lab where it was more isolated people interaction. So I stayed for 4 years because I moved around to three different labs and because I can on people facing opportunities. So I led our employee commitment team, I onboarded our summer interns, new hires, was voluntold most times to present on behalf of the lab. And so through that introspective journey there, I was like, there's something to this training thing. And then I reflected even pre-professionally. I spent 6 years at McDonald's and I was a crew trainer and a manager there. So in 2004, that same call center that I had started my career with merged with the company, and they needed someone to come over and run the call center from a training standpoint. And that was in 2004 when Survivor, the show Survivor, just came on the scene. And so when I did my interview presentation, I actually did a Survivor themed presentation. That will make sense as to why I'm bringing this up as we continue our conversation here. But needless to say, I got the job and I have been doing training, coaching, facilitation ever since, speaking ever since, primarily in the healthcare space when I was working inside of corporate America. And when I moved to Houston, I had this gnawing entrepreneurial spirit. Like I wanted to have my own business, have my own company. And I sort of think that was a bit by nature versus nurture, whatever that is, with my father, who wanted to have his own business that was been multi-level marketing was big, as I was growing up. So he always wanted to do that sort of thing. But he really waited until he officially retired to start his own business. And so I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to do it before. So in 2016 is when I launched. It was Joni D. Goodman LLC at the time because I'm in the fourth largest city in the United States and I knew no one and nobody knew me. So I rebranded a few years ago to JDG Advisors. But that's how that all kind of came together.
So that was okay. So that was after you moved to Houston, or like
Yes,
almost right after, right? Well, a couple years after.
couple years.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And so I'm sure I'm going to get some things out of order here, and it's actually okay if I do. But like, how did you come across? And I may mispronounce this, but like Brene Brown certifications. Was that one of the first things, or was that later?
Yes. So I found out about Brene Brown from my therapist in Indiana. And I was going to therapy because my life, and I know you're going to get to, we're talking about worthiness, and I'm already leading into a unworthiness moment.
It's
But
okay.
my life was really just not going the way that I had desired and hoped it would go. I had my marriages, relationships were not going well. My friendships, I had an okay relationship with my family, but it wasn't the best. I was being passed over for promotions at work, and so I was like, wait a minute. I'd like to point fingers at all those things and say that it's because of them, but there's always a finger pointing back at me, and I'm the common thread in all of this. So I started working with the therapist, and she asked me to watch the Power of Vulnerability TED Talk by Brene Brown, which came out in 2010. And it was very transformational for me about vulnerability and, saying what's really happening and letting go of control as a recovering perfectionist. And so when I moved to Houston, I knew that Brene was a professor at the University of Houston, and I knew she was here in Houston. So I started looking into how I could get involved with her. And at that time, she had her Daring Way program, which was more in the social work, life coaching, therapy kind of space. And so that was behavioral health. That was not necessarily my specialty. So I just stayed connected to her and people who were in her community. And when she published Dare to Lead, I applied in 2018 and found out that I was accepted, and then went through the certification in 2019 and have been doing her work for the past 5 years, which has certainly transformed me. And it's been an honor to watch how it transforms others and teams and organizations and companies. So my work today is very much informed by that.
Great story. Um, I have no idea with your busy schedule how you're able to incorporate that in to helping individuals that may struggle similar to how you struggled. But it's a great story. Do you get to use it a lot? The
I do.
certification?
I do, and it was actually the vulnerability work that has equipped me to be able to share it. It's never going to be comfortable, but it does get easier the more that you share it. And in fact, I was able to share it like this, speaking to audiences and people, before I was able to share it inside of this book. So I had to I am a coach, but I couldn't coach myself through putting things in writing. And so you mentioned in my bio that I went through a woman centered coaching certification last year and got to experience some of that coaching, which that, along with my other professional coach um, and just work on myself, helped me to have the courage to go ahead and publish the book.
Okay, that makes sense. I definitely want to here in a minute get into the book Rappel, but I want to take you back for a minute
Yep.
because you've started to cross the bridge already about worthiness. Just give us a little more. What specifically were you wrestling with during that time where you were seeking out, Brene Brown and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that in my mind, there were a lot of expectations. I was in the top 10% of my class. I had perfect attendance all 4 years of high school. I was first chair in the band. So obviously a high performer. And at some point, there was probably healthy striving that was happening, but then that made the jump to hustling for my worth of, if I do this,
Mm,
then X will happen. They will
mm.
love me. They will accept me into the program. They will promote me, fill in the blank, whatever that is.
Performance
And so,
based.
what's that?
I'm sorry, performance based.
Yes, very performance based. And, I was exhausted, just constantly.
Mm,
Finally, I'm like, I feel like I'm running from my own life.
wow.
Yeah. And,
Mm.
it just, everything about my life just did not feel good. And I'm like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. I'm a glass half full kind of gal. And so I'm the only one that can do something about this. And I did as much as I could on my own. And then I needed to get some support through therapy and other personal and professional development programs, which I think is the trap that we fall into, is that we feel like we have to go it alone when we get in those states of I'm not worthy, or you mentioned the big buzzword now, imposter syndrome. I like to call it aspirational discomfort, where we're aspiring for something different, but it's so uncomfortable that the familiar discomfort that we're in feels better than going to unfamiliar discomfort.
So I'll piggyback off of that for a second because I just experienced it this week. I was invited to an event a couple of weeks ago, and this is just bear with me here because this ties right into what you're saying. I was excited at the invite at first because I knew it was a room I needed to be in, but as it settled, all the other stuff took over.
Mm-hmm.
Imposter syndrome, limited thinking, doubt, fear, insecurity. I mean, we could go on and on, right? And I've done a lot of mindset work in the last 18 months, and I don't mind being vulnerable and telling you I would even sabotage opportunities like that in the
Oh yeah.
past. I knew there was a registration link, and if I procrastinated to the point where it
Mm-hmm.
got full, then I could blame it on it got full. instead
Right.
of my fear took over.
Right.
Anyway, I say all that. I decided to go. And I got a couple new threads to go, and I did it right. I got a decent hotel, so I wouldn't drive. It's a 3 hour drive. I said yes to the opportunity, and it felt great to say yes. And I was talking to a guest earlier about rest and how we have to create rest for times of reflection and creativity.
Hmm.
Totally a new concept for me because I'm a go 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 guy.
Hmm.
And as I'm in the hotel, I've already said good night to my family. I've got a late call to somebody on the West Coast, but it's a friend. I mean, it wasn't really work. I've just got the TV on, but I'm not really paying attention to it. I'm kind of pre-packing, thinking about how the event went. I'm excited that I went. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm so proud of myself for going. I'm so proud that I said yes. The new Steve
Hmm.
said yes. And as I said that, a new keynote came to my mind. And I started taking notes. I was like, what's on the other side of your yes? And so
Yes.
I
Ooh,
really,
love it.
yeah, I appreciate you bringing up that point because it's good. Um, okay, so charity event where you had the opportunity to rappel down 15 flights or
Hmm.
15 stories.
Hmm.
How did that come about?
Yeah. So just to piggyback on what you were saying, thank you for sharing your story. And the fifth R of the Rappel framework is rejoice, which is about celebrating your success and sharing your story, which is what you just did. And the real story, not like, oh, I had this
Yeah,
event and,
yeah.
yes, absolutely, the Instagram version versus like I, was going to register for this event and I was like scared, literally fearful and whatever was going on. And then, the full circle moment of when you said yes and what came of that. So that's awesome. So, Rappel, I started doing work to support veterans because the unworthiness that I was experiencing was linked to anxiety. And one of the areas that I know of in my family of origin that linked to anxiety came from my late paternal grandfather, who was a World War II veteran. I never got the opportunity to meet him because he passed away before I was born. However, he came back from World War II with undiagnosed PTSD. And he grew up in the same, or he was living in the same small town that I grew up in. And so I decided whenever I was doing this work that that was one area that I wanted to give back in was supporting veterans, because if I can do anything from my vantage point as being a passionate patriot and supporting families who are going through challenges as a result of veteran service or even veterans as well. So I started doing work with Impact a Hero, which is the organization who was putting on this Over the Edge Rappel event. And I started doing some leadership classes for them. And they offered this fundraising opportunity. And I am not a daredevil by any means. I'm not one of those adrenaline junkies. But I thought, if they can go and do what they did, I can go and do this with them and to support them. So, Steve, honestly, I did not do this to set out titling a book or coming up with a leadership framework. But that, alas, is what happened, similar to you when you said yes. And now you have this idea for this new keynote. And it was also really a testament to me personally of the work that I had been doing on myself and how much progress that I had made through the anxiety. Because I spent a lot of my life vacillating on the continuum of terrified, like panicky, to exhilarated, like I'm on top of the world. And both of those ends of the spectrum are what I refer to as being emotionally hijacked. You're running on emotions in both of those instances, and your logical brain is offline. Sorry, the biochemist in me comes out and we geek out with the brain. So, what happened for me with the Rappel experience with Impact a Hero is I figured out that I was in the middle of that continuum and I was able to regulate my nervous system through those terrifying moments and through those exhilarating moments. So you can still experience those, but just not have the emotion be running you. You actually have control over your nervous system. So when I set out to do this, I was kind of like you in the sense of, okay, I'm saying yes to this. However, it was a fundraising initiative and you had to raise $1,000. Okay, well, to some people, that may sound like a lot, and to others, not really. And to be honest, I could have just paid it, but I'm like, no, I'm going to fundraise. But I'm also thinking, maybe I won't raise enough money. So then I won't do this.
Yeah.
So then I hit 1,000 and then 1,200 and 1,500. So it's like, okay, you're doing this. So I got there for the day to do this, and I wasn't sure how it was going to be executed. There were several of us doing it, and I thought, a hotel's pretty big, and so maybe we're all going to be going down at the same time, which is the reason I wore the purple cape. It was not to be Superwoman, but so that the spectators that were there could find me when I was doing this. So they had a training where I wore the harness for, several hours. And when I actually got up on the roof to rappel, it was pouring rain. So, I say be careful what you write about. At this point, I was already writing the breakthroughs, and I define a breakthrough as a sudden change in a situation, and when you're able to make an important discovery about yourself that advances you towards a goal, and whenever you're able to resolve your limiting beliefs. So here we are with the sudden change of a situation, like pouring rain, and I'm getting ready to do this thing. So that is when I started going through the process of really owning my story of what was my true purpose in doing this, and knowing my value of, going from struggling with anxiety to managing anxiety, and going from these emotionally hijacked places where your nervous system is dysregulated to being able to regulate your nervous system. And, realizing that the relating part of the framework is about building meaningful connections because you're strengthening your emotional intelligence. I had not met these folks on the top of the roof ever, but they were instructing me how to hold this, stand here, put your arms out here, pull this lever. And so, we had to quickly bond despite the fact that it's pouring rain. And in my presentation that I give now, I show some clips of the video so you can hear firsthand of what that looked like. And then when it was actually time to go down, that's how I came up with reason, which is the third step, which is about developing self trust and using discomfort as a growth catalyst. So knowing that there were many moments in my life before that were breakthrough moments. But again, I was in those emotionally hijacked places. And so now being able to trust myself enough to do this. And, when you're rappelling down a hotel, all you're seeing is your reflection in the windows as you're going down. So um, that was really, really important. And then once I landed, recognize is the fourth step. I was able to gain clarity and take purpose driven action and come up with this framework and be able to share the story and help other people.
It is fascinating because and we're only catching a glimpse of the mindset that went into it. I mean, however long from the time you had the opportunity to the time you said yes to the time of the event, we're talking probably weeks, right?
I think it might have been, yeah, close to a couple months, maybe a few months, not like a year.
Okay, so you say 8, 12 weeks or something like that. But it's fascinating the process of saying yes to it and then doing it. And it's just fascinating to me how that became the framework for the book. That wasn't your goal going into it. You were going to raise
Right.
money and get past your fears and do this, this exercise for
Hmm.
for charity.
Right.
And it became the framework of a book, which, and how long ago was this?
So I actually did the rappelling in November of 2021. And I have been working on my book for 4 years and just published it in June.
Ah, okay. So June of 25.
Hmm. Yes.
And I love the name of the book. I love the graphics, and that is actually you on the cover, right?
It is. This is me, and it's in black and white, and that will make sense as you get into the book. But there I am with my. It is a purple cape, but it's a black and white image.
Yeah, that you got a great design there too. It looks wonderful.
Thank you.
Um, but there's something else that came out of the book too, right? Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so it was kind of happening in tandem with the book. And this, all along, I just want to keep bringing us back to the worthiness and the unworthiness because this was another breakthrough moment in my life. And I mentioned that along with therapy, I was doing a lot of personal and professional development. And as a female leader in STEM and used to being the only woman sometimes at the table in a male populated environment, is I did a lot of programs that were specifically geared for women, which really, as I reflected during the pandemic pause, as I like to call it, that they really helped serve me a lot and made a lot of transformational differences in my life. In fact, I completed one the year that I decided to move to Houston. And that gave me the courage and some of this mindset skills to do that. So I decided that it was really on my heart to launch a program for women in STEM as well. And that was, or that is called Encounter You. And it happens to be the 50-second breakthrough in the book. And so I launched that in 2023. It is a intimate year-long growth experience for 12 women to go through as a cohort together. And then they are integrated into the larger community. And my goal with doing that program was to have an environment where women are supported to be able to go where they need to go and do what they need to do and own who they are now. And also really assess to become aware of who that is and to own who they've been in the past and to own who they are today and to own who they want to be in the future and be able to share their story with other people and ultimately be able to manifest and monetize whatever it is that they desire in their life. And so essentially to be able to go through the peaks and valleys of life together and not be judged, but be supported, be, encouraged as you're going through this process and for it to be a safe space for you to share all of that.
Now, is that a virtual experience or is that more retreat style?
So it is both. The year-long experience it's hybrid, but the Pinnacle weekend is actually the end of February and it is in Round Top at that Frenchy Boutique Hotel that I mentioned. And so it is an in-person experience. And then as we go throughout the year, it's a mixture of both online and some in-person gatherings. So I really, I lead it, but it's very much the community making the decisions of how this unfolds because it started out as just a weekend and the community was asking, we want to stay connected throughout the whole year and really forever. So that's when I expanded it in 2024 and 2025 to be a year long experience. And this year, they've been requesting more in person gatherings. So we actually went to the Round Top Festival in October. And then we did a everyone who goes through the ladies who go through are called empresses. So we did an Empress Giving, which was our spin on Friendsgiving for Thanksgiving. And then just on Monday, I hosted an experience called Encounter Two, where they brought a prospect, someone that they felt would be worthy of expanding our community. So that's what we did in December.
Wow. Okay. So are these women all local or are they coming from all over?
So they are coming from all over. I've had a woman from Florida, from Arizona, and then some of them are obviously here locally as well. So it's been a
Hmm.
mixture.
Very nice. Very nice. So how much public speaking are you doing? And is Rappel a big part of that? I'm just trying to gauge how much time you have for public speaking because I know you love it.
Yes, yes. So it definitely, Rappel is a big part of it. So I have what I call an interactive keynote presentation that is a toe dip in the water of the 5-step framework. And then I also have a full workshop, which is, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours to do the workshop, which is the deep dive into the framework and the breakthroughs. And the purpose of the framework, the Rappel framework, is to help you to sustain having breakthroughs over and over again in your life. So, yes, I'm doing that, but I still have some capacity to do more of that in 2026.
Wonderful. So if folks wanted to find Rappel, is Amazon the only way they can find it, or are there other ways?
So, yes, it is on Amazon. However, if you are a library or a university, it's also available on Ingram Spark as well. But yes, Rappel Breakthrough to a Better You is available on Amazon. And right now it is in ebook and paperback format. And I have plans next year to do the audiobook version. And my plan for that is not just to dictate the book, but to also share some pearls of wisdom that have came from the interactive keynote presentation, from the Encounter You Luxury Women's Experience, and from the workshop as well. I plan to incorporate that into the audiobook.
Love it, love it. I'm taking a note because I'm a huge reader, and I often get books doing this, but I took a note to get the ebook version of it. That's a whole nother story. You can't see it, but I've got two bookshelves next to me, one on each side, and then I've got a bookshelf behind the virtual screen. And about 5 years ago, my wife said, our whole house is becoming stacks of books that what your books. And I'm like, what are you suggesting? She said, I think it's time to go electronic. And I was like, oh no, I like the smell. I like to
Yeah,
mark them up.
highlight.
And you know what? You can do all that. Of course, it doesn't smell like paper, but you can do all that on Kindle. But she was right, like usual. And I love ebooks now for sure. So I'm going to check it out myself.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
you
And
know,
it's kind of to with the ebook version, um, it's kind of a book and a journal in one, if you will, because each of the 52 breakthroughs has a section called Break Thoughts for you to be able to arrive at your breakthrough. So now you're giving me an idea. Maybe I need to do a journal as well to go with the ebook so you can actually, but then there would be another book. So don't get me in trouble with your wife.
long as it's ebook, I'm okay. I do occasionally buy, a hard copy or a paperback if I really want it like that. But yeah. Tell folks where they can learn more about you.
Absolutely. So you can find me as well as all the work that I do and the book on jdgadvisors.com. And it has links specifically to the Rappel Breakthrough to a Better You book and the keynote presentation, the workshop. And then there's also an area for the Encounter You Luxury Women's Experience, as well as the other facilitation and professional development work that I do. And then I'm also on social media as Joni D. Goodman on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. I do have an X profile as well. I'm just not as active on there. And an aspiration for 2026 is to get Substack going.
There you go. Half the listeners are like, "What's X?"
Yeah, Twitter, the former Twitter.
Oh yes, that was the first after Facebook. That was the first social media thing I signed up for, and I don't think I've touched that thing in like 3 years. But no, we'll include all of your links in the description here, so you guys want to. And I highly encourage you to check out Joni and all the incredible work that she's doing. Joni, this has been fun. What words of encouragement would you leave our viewers today?
The couple of words of experience, or the couple of words of wisdom that I would leave, and I'm always a little extra, so it's usually more of a couple of phrases, but never say never to
Mm.
what you can do or be in your life, and continue to know that you can break through to a better you over and over and over again, and you're actually worthy of that. Even if it is a hard right, like going to school for biochemistry and becoming an entrepreneur who is an international speaker, a master trainer, an engaging facilitator, and an author. You know, all of those things. Continue to allow yourself to break through to a better you and never say never.
Never say never. Continue to know you can break through to a new you,
A better you. Yes.
a better you,
Mm-hmm.
and you are worthy of a breakthrough. Plural.
Yes, yes. And you know, there's sometimes that slip of the new you, which is fine. There is a transformation, but the point of the breakthrough to a better you is to not diminish who you are today, because that has certainly served you and brought you to where you
Yeah.
are today. But you can always tweak it to be just a little bit better. And actually, our journey of growth and development is one that never ends. So continuing to allow yourself to make mistakes and to grow from those and to be even better than you were the day before.
Very wise advice. I so appreciate that. This has been fun. Joni, thank you so much for being our wonderful guest today and sharing your wisdom and your talents and your heart with us. I am sure folks are going to resonate with the things that you had to share today. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. And Steve, I just remembered I forgot to close the loop on the survivor story just quickly, which is how I came to know you.
Yeah.
So Holly Hoffman was another guest, and she actually wrote the foreword to my book, and she was the last woman standing in the Survivor Nicaragua tribe. And so that was kind of a full circle moment for me when I made the jump into training, and that was in 2004. Did the survivor presentation, met Holly in 2017 at a conference. We became connected, and then she wrote the foreword to my book and led me to Steve to be on the You Are Worthy network.
Fascinating, actually. And for those of you that don't know who Joni's referencing, um, yeah, Holly was the last voted off uh, member of the Nicaraguan season. I think it was season 21 or 23. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure, but she has been on the public speaking circuit now for I think going into the 16th year maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and you can go back and listen to her interview. It's on YouTube. All this is a good time to remind you guys. All our videos they come down live after 30 days because that's a Facebook policy, but they immediately go up on the YouTube channel. And so Holly's is there, and Holly talks about getting voicemails right after she got home from people wanting her to speak about her experiences, and she ignored the first couple of those voicemails.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole nother conversation. But when she finally said yes, here we go again. She didn't know waiting for her on the other side was a whole new career that's been so
Right.
fulfilling for her. So I mean, it's available for all of us, right?
Mm-hmm. That was her breakthrough moment. One of her breakthrough moments.
Exactly. And they're all there for us. We just have to say yes to them.
Yes.
Joni, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, your story's not over yet. You have more breakthroughs coming. Isn't that exciting? Long as you keep bettering yourself, long as you stay grateful, long as you stay humble, breakthroughs are coming your way. I appreciate each one of you. It's been a lot of fun today. We rejoice with you today. Guys, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you very soon. Stay blessed.